artists I've discovered recently would include, this would take things outside the jazz realm. I just started checking out this album by a cellist named Jody Redhage. I might be saying her name wrong. She's the wife of trombonist Alan Ferber. And it's a beautiful solo cello album with electronics and multi-tracked cello, really nice. And also recently got into a group called Tinariwen, which is a Tuareg group from the desert in Mali. Really cool, just, you know, I love the music of Mali, but it's kind of a different thing, coming from a different thing than the usual West African music, and it's also influenced by a lot of global music, so they kind of have their own sound. Great group. The vibes are an interesting instrument for connecting with other musicians and other bands and other genres, many genres, because it's a relatively new instrument. There isn't like a preset. There are some ways that, you know, kind of the greats have paved, like Milt Jackson or Bobby Hutcherson or Gary Burton have kind of paved these roles for the instrument in jazz. But with so much new, fresh type stylistic things happening with the music these days, there are kind of more possibilities opening up for it to be used texturally, or it can become a lead instrument and then become more part of the texture of the group. There's a lot of potential for it to be creating different patterns, especially when you start combining it with instruments that you don't normally combine it with. I play in some groups that are like, you know, they don't have bass, or that, you know, it's with like a harp or with a kora, or, you know, different instruments from around the world, and it combines really beautifully as a rich sonority, so it can blend really well with a lot of different instruments, and that's always fun to explore. Yeah. Yes, I have a new CD coming out. It's already out. It came out in June. It's called The Subliminal and the Sublime, and it was commissioned by Chamber Music America, and for a sextet with Lauren Stillman on alto sax, Fabian Almazan piano, Lindo on bass, Justin Brown on drums, and Ryan Ferreira on guitar. And it's music that's very through composed, very textural, inspired by, I have a lot of jazz influence, but there's also a lot of inspiration from minimalist composers and ambient composers like Brian Eno and you know, Steve Reich, John Adams, that kind of area. And also it seemed to just come out this way, but some of the Indian Hindustani music and the West African music that I was listening to during the time that I was composing, it just kind of naturally came through in the composition. So it has a lot of various influences, but it's just kind of my own sound. Yeah. I'm starting a new trio that kind of branched out of the sextet, because a lot of the writing for the sextet was for piano, guitar, and vibes, thinking about the textures that could be created with those three. So now I'm writing new music for just that trio to explore everything that could be done. It's not often done three-chordal instruments, so it's an interesting sound, and we have the ability to add some electronics with the keyboard and laptop that Fabian can do. So it's with Fabian Almazan and Ryan Ferreira, the same players from the sextet. Chris Dingman.